So, without further ado, the man, the legend, Dr. Hinkle will be speaking to you again. Nobody listens. Let's try this again. So, without further ado, the man, the legend, Dr. Hinkle is up again.
Well, thank you for that. All right. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to just do a really quick update on some of the exercise, and then we'll get back to fun. Why are we even worried about exercise or interested? Well, there are a lot of good reasons, obviously, but there's epidemiology going back 20-some years that persons who are more active, more exercise, have a lower statistical risk for Parkinson's and probably a later onset as well. And so the question has always been, does exercise slow Parkinson's, or do people who have Parkinson's disease tend to not exercise as much? And I think that the former probably has more relevance and more science behind it. With that in mind, neuroprotection is protection of nerve cell structure, function, and survival. And the basis for what you're doing with Melissa and her group and other groups goes back to animal models of mice or rats being forced to run on a treadmill. And I didn't want to say it, but I know. You might as well just put yourself in this apparatus, right? But this is kind of where it all started a few decades ago. And just really quickly, so this is just an experiment of a Parkinson's animal model with forced exercise versus no exercise. And the upper right of each of these little gels, as they're called, shows reduction of alpha-synuclein buildup in the brains with the exercise. So a little bit of neuroprotection there. And then again, in another animal model of toxin-induced Parkinsonism, on the left bottom, panel D is that substantia nigra where the dopamine cells are, lots of cells there. The E panel in the middle bottom, Parkinson's model with no exercise, and then when Melissa got to them on F, bottom right, protected cells. So that's kind of the basic science of where that has come from. And then neuroplasticity is another buzz term, which is more, it's not really protecting the cells, it's more how we learn and encode experiences, and it modifies the connections between the nerve cells, which are called synapses, and that's how we learn. Synapses are adjusted, and to remember that I like chocolate ice cream and not vanilla or something like that. I don't know if there we go. So this is a human brain study looking at basically activity of the brain, and I've boxed on the left the basal ganglia structures that are involved with Parkinson's disease, and you're looking at the activity right after someone has been on a bicycle, again being forced. And if you look in the far right, the activity of the brain looks pretty similar to on levodopa, whereas in the middle, off of the levodopa. So the exercise is kicking up some activity in there. So some evidence for neuroplasticity. Melissa can update this if she wants, but kind of from my reading, the prescription that I at least convey to people is very similar to, I think, what American Heart Association and other groups support. 30 minutes, escalated heart rate 3 to 4 times a week, ideally coupled with some task-specific training, which can help with Parkinson's. Get some weight power exercise in 2 times a week, get some balance training in 2 times a week. And I think you have to vary the approach and make it fun, and try to find somebody who's not as shy as Melissa to help you to do the programs. Just real quick, we are one of 27 sites, US and Canada. We're the only non-academic site involved with this SPARKS-3 trial, which is the largest clinical trial ever done for Parkinson's exercise. It's phase 3, and we have been very active in this clinical trial trying to add information to the knowledge of the type of exercise that should be done. And irisin is a molecule of great interest in recent years. It is when people exercise, blood levels of irisin go up. Irisin actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it can go up in the periphery, get into the brain, and it has anti-inflammation, antioxidative stress properties, and in animal models can protect dopamine cells against the toxins used to make those models. So this is a very hot topic right now in basic science and exercise science. So it sounds like Melissa over here is getting your irisin levels up. So, and I'll hand you over to her. See, I can do it quick.
Oh, goodness. Thanks for that quick update. By the way, you said 3 minutes and it's been 6, but anyway, I digress. It's great to hear the science, to get reminded of all that, because we know exercise can be tough, and it can cause your symptoms to increase temporarily. It can just feel hard, and I respect that, but it is also to see this, that it really does make a difference. And I mentioned it before. It truly makes a big difference in the trajectory of the disease that I've seen in the last 3 years. I'll quote a little bit of Dr. Mishley's work as well. Dr. Hinkle mentioned that earlier, and maybe it was in the other group, but she's studied Parkinson's for well over 20 years. And one of the big studies she did was on the frequency of exercise. So the people that are exercising 6 or 7 days a week are doing better than the people that are exercising 4 to 5 days a week. Same as the people that are exercising 4 to 5 days a week are doing better than the people exercising 2 to 3. So keep that in mind. I never want to really stress more is better, but keep in mind that you're so much more capable of doing things than you realize. And that goes back to being around a community, having people that can push you and encourage you. And then to kind of echo what Dr. Hinkle said about the frequency and the actual specifics of exercise. So yes, you want to get your heart rate up at least 150. I always say 175 because I feel like people will say, oh, 150 minutes. I am doing 150 minutes. And again, it goes back to you're more capable than what you realize. And then strength training 2 to 3 times a week, all the major muscle groups. The balance, tai chi, multitasking, they're kind of all little subcategories. But again, finding a group that can help you, guide you through that, because it can be overwhelming. Like, oh, I have to do this, and this. I don't know where. I don't know what to do. And we can thank the Parkinson's Foundation because they're the ones that did the research, I believe, back in 2021 that specified all those guidelines. So those are the things you want to think about. And I will rehash what I said earlier, finding something you enjoy, okay? Cannot stress that enough.